Attention! This makes absolutely no sense. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Zander's Facts.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the latest edition of the Zander's Facts podcast. I am, of course, the aforementioned Zander. It is episode 96 of the podcast here on Wednesday, March 1st, the first day of March in 2023. How about that? Thank you all so much for listening. It is a big podcast we have here, episode 96, on the first day of March, because we got two very important topics to cover. We're talking about AI, artificial intelligence. It's been in the news a lot recently. And we're also talking about Fox News, because Fox News is in a little bit of a lawsuit right now. So you've probably heard about that, because that's all in the news too. So we're going to talk about those two things, break them all down, whatever you need to know. I've got it here on episode 96 of the Zander's Facts podcast. So we're going to get to those two in just a second. But before we do, I just wanted to let you all know that if you like the Zander's Facts podcast, if you think you're going to like all the facts on this week's edition of the podcast, remember to follow this podcast, download this episode 96, rate and review the podcast, then go on all your socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on all those at Zander's Facts. That is Zander with a Z. And most importantly, remember to tell all your friends. We like to call it around here, spread the facts. Zander's Facts Podcast. Tell all your friends about the podcast, about the newsletter, Zander's Weekend Facts, which has a recap of the week's top headlines every Sunday morning. You can sign up in the episode subscription below. It is free to get it in your email every Sunday morning. Check that out. Check out the Zander's Facts link tree, because it has all the Zander's Facts links that you need, including for the Zander's Facts website, zandersfacts.com, which includes the Zander's Facts shop. Get your facts swag at zandersfacts.com at the Zander's Facts shop. So this week, let's get into our first main topic. And for this, I wanted to do something a little different this week on the podcast, because as I said, we are talking about artificial intelligence. I wanted to take a little bit to explore the world of AI. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, a trusted source, AI is, quote, the ability of a digital computer or computer-controlled robot to perform tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings, unquote. AI is one of those things that's all around us, and we sometimes think about it, but then we're asked, could you define AI or artificial intelligence? And we're like, I don't know.
What are you talking about?
But it has a huge role in our lives, and that role continues to increase as time goes on. So we're going to talk about AI this week, and to do that, I actually wanted to bring on a few guests to this week's podcast to have a discussion, a conversation, if you will, about how AI works and what its dangers are. Some very knowledgeable, or at least they should be knowledgeable, people on this discussion. I'll give you a hint, some of the most powerful people that we have in this world are going to be on this podcast this week.
Who?
And it's something a little different than anything we've ever done, really, here on this podcast. So I found it amusing. So I think you should stay tuned and listen to our discussion about the world of artificial intelligence. We are exploring AI. Let's get to it as the Zander's Facts podcast continues.
Zander's Facts.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Zander's Facts podcast. It is episode 96, and as I previously mentioned, we have a couple of special guests joining the podcast this week. They say they're some of the biggest guests we've ever had here on the podcast, because we've got a couple of presidents joining the pod this week. So let's start with some introductions here. We first got the 45th president of the United States, Donald Trump. President Trump, thanks for coming on the podcast.
That's right, it's me, your favorite president, Donald John Trump. Thank you, Zander, for having me on your great podcast. I've heard it hasn't really been that great of a podcast, but now that I am here, I think it will be one of the greatest podcasts anyone has ever heard. And I think you should thank me for that.
Oh, zip it, Donald. This was a very fine podcast even before you got here.
And frankly, your presence makes it worse.
Okay. I haven't even introduced you yet. We've also got the 46th and current President of the United States, Joe Biden. President Biden, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Zander. This is going to be a great time.
And then we also have the 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama. President Obama, thanks for coming on The Facts.
Well, Zander, I really appreciate the opportunity to join your fine podcast with Donald and Joe. I think we're going to have a lively discussion, if you know what I mean.
I want to thank all three of you for joining us here on this very special edition of the Zander's Facts podcast. It's the first Zander's Facts podcast powered by AI, whatever that means. But to have three presidents of the United States, the most powerful position in the world here, it's really cool. And even though you come from different parties and have different positions on issues, including from me for some, I'm glad we're able to do this.
Yeah, whatever. I just want to let everyone know that these two fools stole the election from me. I should be the one who's president because everyone knows I was perhaps the greatest president ever, but also perhaps maybe even the most harassed president ever. Some may say it was Lincoln, but I don't think so. A lot of people are saying it was me.
The man was shot in the back of the head, Donald.
That's what the mainstream, lamestream media want you to think, but we definitely didn't teach that at Trump University.
Okay, so now that we have the pleasantries out of the way, I wanted to talk about the power of artificial intelligence, or AI for short. And coming from some of the most powerful men the world has ever seen, you all should have some amazing perspectives. I mean, we've always had things like Google that use AI, but now we're in a world with personalized ads and ChatGPT and things that are blowing our minds. I mean, people are even making TikTok videos of you three playing video games together.
Oh, by the way, guys, I can't get on Fortnite tonight. Jill said I have to be in bed by 9, and I still have to ask if I can buy the new Battle Pass. Of course! Sleepy Joe delivering as always. You're so sleepy. It doesn't matter, we'll do better without you, because I'm level 150.
But Donald, we'll need a third for trios. I don't trust you on duos.
Okay, fine. Who are we going to get?
Well, I was thinking...
Wait, I have the perfect person. Hold on a sec.
Okay, so while all that gets sorted out, I wanted to ask you all about how dangerous AI could be. I mean, it's cool and all that. The internet can spit out essays about topics we give it in just 5 seconds, and those TikTok videos are just hilarious. But there's also the risk of cheating and using this technology for harm. Like, these voice clones could be used for things like propaganda, or someone could make someone say something that they never said and could get into a lot of trouble. President Obama, what do you think about all this?
Well, Zander, I absolutely share your concerns. I can tell you that under my administration, we took steps to make sure that this sort of thing could be regulated and put under control. Of course, there's little you can do without limiting free speech. And there's a whole argument about whether these voice clones are legal or not. Because technically you aren't using someone's work, you're just using someone's voice. But now you can make, like let's say me, say that I don't support Ukraine. But I've reiterated my stance many times. I 100% support Ukraine, and I know Joe does too. But some random person, not me on the internet, can make an audio clip saying I don't, and that could go viral and cause massive damage. So, Zander, we're going to have to be very careful with how this technology evolves in the next few years.
And I see that President Trump is still busy doing whatever.
I'm about to bring you the best guest ever to your podcast besides me, Zander.
Oh, great. So how about you, President Biden? What is your administration's view on all this?
Well, Zander, it's certainly a problem, and I'd like to address one thing specifically. To all the young folks who keep portraying me as a noob who doesn't know how to play games on that Chinese app, well, you're wrong. I've been an OG miner in Minecraft since the old days. I'm in the Champion League in Fortnite, and I've beat up Donald in like 1,000,000 games. So let's get that out of the way.
He's lying, Zander. He's not very good at any of those games. We have to carry him all the time.
Are you sure, Barack? Because I've slayed the Ender Dragon before and carried you noobs with 20 kills in trios on Battle Night. And Hunter was helping you. You were probably even playing on his laptop.
What was that? Oh, no.
Yes, Donald, where are you? What's the nearest Hardee's?
Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy. Why are you on this call?
Well, I don't know who the hell you are, but my good friend Donald invited me on here because he said we were going to go to Hardee's, and that's the last place I had my phone because the FBI took my phone, and I rightly said that they stole the election from our great president, number 45.
Zander! I invited him on here because he's been a fierce advocate of mine as we attempt to take back our country. A lot of people don't know this, but it's been rightfully stolen by the leftist commies, and we're going to take it back with pillows. Great pillows. A lot of people are saying they're the greatest. Well, I don't say that, and apparently my name is Sleepy Joe. That's because you're senile too, Joe. You can't remember what you sleep on for 20 hours a day.
Okay, Donald, we all don't want the My Pillow guy on here. He's just a former addict who makes pillows and is clearly still loopy and has no role in this discussion on artificial intelligence.
You have no clue, Barack. You don't know what it's like to have your phone taken by the FBI for spreading the truth. I thought I was just getting a healthy, yummy triple-pound steak burger at Hardee's, and then I was swarmed by you and the deep state.
Mike, would you shut up, man? No one cares about Hardee's. Everyone knows that Wendy's is clearly superior.
Excuse me, but I think I have the most fast food experience on this call. And the Big Macs, fish fillets, and milkshakes at McDonald's are so clear.
Whopper, 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 Whopper.
It's pretty clear that none of you have even been to Church's Chicken.
Hey, dumb, we're not even talking about chicken. You should have mentioned White Castle.
I mean, I think Five Guys has the best burgers, TBH.
Yeah, but if I want to take Michelle, Sasha, and Malia to Five Guys, it'll cost me an arm and a leg.
Oh, please, you're just poor. You don't even have a gold toilet that you can truth from. By the way, go follow me on Truth at Real Donald Trump, guys.
And then go watch my show on Lindell TV. It's my very own channel on the dark web where I merged a cross with the American flag for the logo. It's great.
Okay, Mike, bye.
Wait, no, not yet. I didn't get to tell you about our latest pillow, sir.
Donald, please don't invite any more of your friends. We're trying to have a serious discussion.
Sorry, Barry. Won't happen again.
Okay, so President Trump, we haven't heard from you yet on the subject of artificial intelligence. What do you think about all of this?
Well, I really do think it's a terrible thing for our country. This AU thingy we have is being manipulated by the radical left Democrats and their friends in order to harm me and my campaign for president. And by the way, I just want to let you know that I am running for president again in 2024 because there's a lot of people in this country who believe that the last election was unfairly stolen and that America is breaking apart because of the socialist policies of sleepy Joe Biden. And I can tell you that there's a massive movement in this country that will take us to the largest victory the world has ever seen, because there's a lot of people who remember the great 4 years we had and now the terrible years we've had under this foolish old man.
Who are you calling foolish orange man? At least I didn't get a comb over.
Okay, guys, can we just be civil?
Well, he started it.
Okay, Donald, who is it now?
I swear it's not from me.
Yes, hello, it's me, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger of the great state of California. I'm not sure how I got on this call, but my agent just put me in front of the Zoom.
Arnold, I'm not sure either, and that doesn't even sound like you either.
Well, either way, I'm glad he's here because even though Arnold comes from the Republican Party and we disagree on a whole host of matters, I know that he'd be a great asset to our discussion.
And Barack, we agree a lot too, like I know we both hate Donald.
Shut up, you old washed-up sack of dirt. I could beat you behind the barn any day.
I wouldn't say that if I were you.
Yeah, have you even seen my muscles?
Arnold, are you okay? You don't sound right.
Yeah, I think you've been stolen by the AU thingy.
Donald, it's AI, and yeah, I think I'm going to kick you fake, Arnold.
Wait, no. I am the Terminator.
Wait, that actually sounded like him.
Yeah, can we get Arnold back? I'd like to kick him right in the...
Okay, so let's continue our discussion here. You know, guys, there's a lot of people who are worried that with AI technology continuing to advance and machines becoming smarter each and every day, millions and millions of jobs could be lost to machines. What are we going to do to combat that?
Well, first off, Zander, I wouldn't worry if I were you because I think that podcasts will always be run by real humans. I mean, there's a lot of proof that AI podcasts don't work that well. So I think that what we have to do is determine which jobs and sectors could rely more on machines and AI and start to...
Okay, can I answer the question, Barack, because everyone heard it addressed specifically to me?
What are you talking about, Donald? He did not address that question to you.
Yeah, Donald, you're really failing this cognitive test right now.
Excuse me, but I absolutely aced that test. Man, woman, person, camera, TV. And I'll have you know that during my presidency, everyone came up to me thanking me in tears, crying for being such a cognitive genius. I mean, there were so many people talking about it. A lot of people didn't know it, but a lot of people did know that I truly was and am a genius. And I can bring back on my friend, Mr. My Pillow Guy, to prove it because he knows.
Donald, I truly have no idea what that was about, but I can say that you absolutely are a cognitive genius.
Ben Shapiro, could you go back to your own silly podcast?
Zander, my podcast is not silly. It does like 100 times the numbers that your so-called facts do. And plus, I can talk really, 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 really fast, which means I am the smartest person alive, besides Donald, of course, and win every argument. So hit me, you libtard.
Okay, could you define critical race theory for me?
Oh, well, everyone knows that it's the radical left woke mob brainwashing our children with thinking that white people are evil and scary.
Yep, that's what I thought.
You know, Donald, you better know what you're doing because I have to go blow my sacks out at the birds in like 5 minutes or Hillary's going to get real ornery.
Yes, Bill, we just have to figure out where we can find our snipers so we can take out that tower in the distance.
Donald, are you seriously playing Warzone with Bill Clinton right now?
Yeah, you got a problem, meathead?
Well, I've got a problem, Donald. You didn't even invite me.
Yeah, I just got my laptop back from Hunter, so now I can play.
Yeah, and Donald, I thought we were going to play Madden in like an hour.
Oh, would you all shut up? I've got to get my round of golf in later today. Yesterday, I think I had at least 3 hole-in-ones, so I'm really trying for 4 today, and then I've got to go get dinner at KFC. I think we're going to have a bucket of chicken tonight. And by we, I mean me, because I'm going to eat it by myself while Melania is off with her really nice new guy friend.
Well, that sounds nice, Donald.
Oh my God, who now?
Hey, it's the nation's best governor, Ron DeSantis. I'm down here in the free state of Florida. Who is this?
Oh my God, Ron, I love you so much. I think about you all the time at night when I'm alone in my bed because my wife sleeps in another room. I love you.
Oh, go screw yourself, Ron DeSanctimonious. I made you, and now you've decided to turn against me and run for president because you think you're more MAGA than me, but I created MAGA Ronald.
Donald, I brought Ron into this Zoom because I think you two need to work out your differences. It's clear that you're in this love-hate relationship, and it's very unhealthy.
Hey, I've had 3 wives. I think I know what an unhealthy relationship looks like. By the way, I don't know if y'all have seen this on Netflix yet, but I watched season 3 of Outer Banks.
Hey, no spoilers. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I was only going to say that I can't believe that they brought Big John back just for him to die at the end. It was so disappointing.
Donald, he said no spoilers.
Okay, but to be honest, you're kind of a loser if you haven't watched it yet. It came out like a week ago.
You know what, Donald? You're right. You want to talk about an unhealthy relationship? How about Sarah cheating on John B. with Topper like that?
Wait, but that happened last season.
Yeah, and it happened again.
Christ, Sarah.
Yeah, totally. Sarah does not deserve John B. at all.
Honestly, I'm just shipping Giara this season, so let's hope they don't break up in season 4.
Well, hopefully none of these shows are Disney related because I just took over Disney's special district from the woke, radical left mob that is brainwashing our children with CRT and different Disney princesses.
Nah, man, but I've still got to watch the new season of Mandalorian. It just started today.
Bill, I've heard that's really good. Does Hillary like it?
How the hell would I know?
I mean, if you aren't watching Drive to Survive right now, you're kind of sus.
I mean, like, seriously, they find all the gold and then blow it up with the guy who
Okay,
said...
Donald, you've seriously got to stop spoiling the show. We've moved on.
All right, so I think this is a good natural stopping point for our discussion. I'll just ask you all for some final thoughts.
Just remember, everyone that woke goes to die in Florida.
Yeah, Ron, we get it. Your state is kind of a nasty, humid swampland.
Wait, I drained the swamp. And the beautiful Mar-a-Lago is here, even though our governor is so disgraceful to me, and a lot of people know it and are truthing about it.
You take that back, Donald. Ron is a fantastic culture warrior who is taking the left down at every turn, and it's glorious to watch.
Bill, what are you doing on the computer?
Uh-oh, I gotta go.
I just want to know if any of you all want to go get some ice cream after this. I was thinking of some chocolate chip.
I'm down as long as it's nearby the Hardys.
Okay, my pillow, how'd you get back here?
You must have forgotten, Zander, how I said I'd invite him back to defend me.
Okay, but we're wrapping up.
And you know what, Zander? I'm really glad I came on your great podcast for this fine discussion. And I hope that everyone everywhere will listen to the Zander's Facts podcast.
But they won't in Florida because it's woke.
Ron, I had no idea you were in here. Do you want to go grab a burger at the Hardys? I'm sure the FBI guys are gone by now.
Good night, guys.
Joe, it's 5 p.m.
Hey guys, it's Christian Pulisic.
Pulley goat, I love you.
Zander's Facts?
Do I actually sound like that? Like, seriously?
Oh!
I don't know. Either way, that was our little conversation we had exploring the world of AI. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, if you haven't guessed already, I'm sorry, but that was not real. For legal purposes, please hear me. Those were not actually the real voices of Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Mike Lindell, Bill Clinton, Ben Shapiro, Hillary was in there, I think, and Ron DeSantis. Those were not actually their voices, or my voice either.
Seriously?
But they sounded real, or you probably got tripped up for a second, I bet. They were actually the products of artificial intelligence. So I actually never conducted that interview. But what I did was I went to this website called 11labs.io. I signed up for an account. It only cost $1, like seriously $1, and I inputted audio clips of all those people, including myself talking. And the site then created its own AI-generated voices for each of those people. So I was able to type out basically anything I wanted them to say, and then it would generate the voice saying what I had typed out, and I would download it, the audio clip, and then I would put it on my podcast software thingy, and then there you go. There it was.
Good to know.
I mean, that's all I had to do. It probably took like twice the work of just doing a regular interview on a podcast, but whatever. I mean, this software has gone viral over the last few weeks because a lot of people have created TikTok videos of the presidents playing video games like Minecraft with each other, like Obama and Trump and Biden are all on those videos playing like Minecraft and Fortnite and stuff. They've even captured the voices of dead presidents, like Ronald Reagan's in one of them. JFK is in a bunch of them for some reason, and they always joke about him going to Dallas, which of course is terrible, but it's a TikTok video, and of course it's hilarious because it's literally not JFK, it's not Reagan, it's not Biden, it's not Trump, it's Obama. It's the software, it's this AI software, these voices that they've put in there, and that the computer, the AI, has spit out. So, the software is being used for fun and games. Like we just did, that was not a serious interview on our podcast. I am fully telling you right now that those people were not. I have never spoken a word or been in the vicinity of any of those people. I do not know them. I've never talked to them. That was not a real interview. Like I'm telling you right now, and when you watch the TikTok videos, that wasn't real. We're just having fun.
So sad.
On the other hand, though, there's things that are not so great. Like people are using the software to get celebrity voices to say some pretty horrible things, which is not good and a cause for concern. And all of this, that software, is thanks to, you guessed it, artificial intelligence. And you've probably heard of ChatGPT and the new Bing chatbot from Microsoft. Those products are from artificial intelligence too. I mean, artificial intelligence, we always hear about it, but I don't really think we take the time to actually think about how prominent AI is in our lives right now. So I actually searched up what are some examples of artificial intelligence that we use in our daily lives, that we use almost every day. And there was a bunch of responses. Here are just a couple of them that I came up with.
Here comes a fact.
So one of them is navigation and the maps app on your phone, because how do you think the directions work on Waze or Google Maps? How do you think it knows where to go? That would be AI working with your GPS, but AI. How about every time you open up your Instagram feed or your Twitter feed and you get something new at the top or it's ordered in a certain way? That's AI powering what you see on your social media feeds. AI is recommending what it thinks you'll like. This works the same way with ads. Personalized advertisements are a product of AI, and they can be all over the web, like on any website. And this also works with searching, because how do you think Google orders searches in the way that they do, except for the stupid ads that are at the top, which is dumb. That's AI. And it's pretty crazy to think that Google has been around for, I guess technically it's decades now, 2 decades or whatever. But that this stuff has been around for decades. I mean, here's another one. Did you use your face to unlock your phone today? Face ID, or facial detection and recognition, is also powered by AI, because when the phone scans your face, it recognizes it, and the AI unlocks the device. And another example, autocorrect. Have you ever gotten pissed off at autocorrect? Because I know I have. A lot of people have, and it's another product of AI. Things like Grammarly, too, which not only do autocorrect, but they also try and reword what you're writing to make it sound better or more professional or whatever. Or if you have an iPhone, and when you're texting on the iMessages app, just above the keyboard, it gives you 3 recommendations of what to type next. That's AI. And speaking of an iPhone, Siri, which is the digital assistant, which sometimes works, is also a product of AI. The same with Alexa, the same with the Google thingy. Oh, my Alexa went off. Crap.
Quit whining.
AI also works with money and e-payments, because you can scan a check on your phone. That money then goes into your bank account. You can transfer money between accounts, or you can open or close an account online. I haven't done it, but apparently you can, all thanks to AI. And AI can even detect potential fraud by looking at spending patterns in your accounts, which is pretty crazy. I mean, there are so many things around us all day, every day, that are powered by AI. And what I went over is just the tip of the iceberg.
That's a lot of facts.
So, I thought if AI was so great, and it's the best thing, or maybe not the best thing, but the craziest, smartest thing in the world, then it would know the Zander's Facts podcast, right? So I asked ChatGPT, quote, what is the Xander's Facts podcast? Question mark, unquote. And here's what it said.
I'm sorry, but as a language model, I don't have real-time access to current events or specific information about podcasts that are created after my knowledge cutoff date of September 2021. However, I can tell you that a podcast called Zander's Facts is likely a show where the host, possibly named Zander, shares interesting and informative facts about a wide range of topics. Podcasts have become a popular medium for sharing knowledge and entertainment, and there are many podcasts available that cover a vast array of topics. If you have any specific questions or topics you would like to learn more about, I'd be happy to help.
So I like how it didn't know what the Xander's Facts podcast was, but it accurately explained the Xander's Facts podcast with a host who might be named Zander.
Xander's Facts.
And yeah, I just put that into ChatGPT. It gave me the response, and I copied that text, and I put that text, pasted it into the 11 Labs thingy, and I put the voice setting on Joe Biden, and so Joe Biden read that out. I mean, that's something that we can do nowadays. So even though ChatGPT doesn't know what the Xander's Facts podcast is, even though it explains it correctly, not that smart, I would say, but it still can do a lot of things, and some of them, of course, are a little potentially dangerous. Like John Oliver talked about AI on his HBO show on Sunday. No coincidence that we're talking about in the same week. I think he stole my idea.
Are you sure?
But he mentioned some examples of where AI has done some bad things, like Microsoft launched a Twitter account powered by AI that could interact with users on Twitter a few years ago, but that had to be shut down within 24 hours. It did not last a day because the Twitter account started being racist, it started denying the Holocaust, it started saying Hitler was great, so that had to be shut down. That was not good. And then there's also examples of AI being used in the hiring process at some jobs, but it's actually being discriminatory because in the past, companies might not have hired many women, or many black people, or many minorities in general, and so the AI would learn from those practices and basically discriminate against minorities.
Uh-oh.
And then there's also the fact that AI could become powerful enough to be able to do people's jobs at a much more efficient pace than humans can, which could potentially take away jobs from humans because machines can do them better. ChatGPT is even used by some students to write out their essays for them, and there's a lot of people who are like, oh, they're indistinguishable from actual human writing. I don't know if you've seen the stuff that ChatGPT comes out with, besides what we just witnessed a minute ago, but it still comes out with a lot of false facts, alternative facts, as Kellyanne Conway would say.
Alternative facts.
But it was even caught making up information about a subject that was actually not a real thing. Someone asked it about something that wasn't real, and it came up with this entire, biography about this thing that wasn't real. I don't know why I couldn't have done that for the Xander's Facts podcast. I don't know, but either way, it's pretty easy to dupe and fool AI right now. We know it knows where its place is. It's below humans. But with its technology becoming stronger and stronger as time goes on, that might not be the case in future years. I mean, AI could also do some pretty incredible things too. Like if you go on your Netflix account, if you still have one, if you read Xander's Weekend Facts, and chances are you're probably going to find something interesting to watch when you scroll through your Netflix account or at the top because AI has recommended it to you. AI could also have the power to make major advances in medicine and cybersecurity. I mean, other fields which could actually have a positive effect on humans. But it all depends really on how we treat it in the future. We've got to be careful and we've got to try to limit any exploitations of AI, like using it to cyber hack or to make celebrities spread misinformation, because those can be done with AI. There's positives and negatives with AI, but we'd like to stick with the positives, not the negatives. But as you can see, AI can also be used to have some simple fun and games like we just did on this podcast, and let's hope that we use it ultimately for good and it can coexist alongside the human race instead of actually replacing the human race, which I'm not too big of a fan of.
Morning, morning!
Because I would like to keep doing my podcast, and I think, listen, I don't know about you all, but that little interview, some of the voices you could tell they definitely sounded off. I actually had I made an entire script for this thing, by the way, and in my script I actually had other names planned out but I put them into the voice thingy or whatever, the AI thingy, and it spit it out, and the voices didn't sound like the actual person at all, so I had to scrap it. So some of those voices didn't sound good at all, like Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't sound really good. I've heard it doesn't do very well if you have some sort of an accent that is not white American male, which is kind of an issue, which if it wants to be credible, it might want to fix. But, even with me, I don't think it sounded like that. It sounded, I don't know why I sounded whiny on there. I don't sound whiny at all ever on this podcast.
Please.
So I don't know what it was doing with all that, but I think that I'm going to be able to keep doing this podcast. AI is not going to take over the Zander's Facts podcast. So there you go. That's our little discussion on AI. Hope you like it. Now let's go into our other part of the Zander's Facts podcast, our second and final topic this week. What's going on with Fox News? You may have heard of Fox News before. It's a channel. Fox News has been in the news a lot recently, but not for what's going on that network right now. No, not for all the things you might be hearing and seeing on that network right now. But the conservative news network is in a whole host of trouble for a lot of stuff that it allowed on its airwaves in the aftermath of the 2020 presidential election here in the United States. If you don't know, Dominion Voting Systems is suing Fox News, accusing the network of defamation following that presidential election. Dominion is alleging that the network knowingly broadcast falsehoods about Dominion's voting machines, and it is suing the network for $1.6 billion with a B dollars.
Get that dough.
And right now, a judge a month or two ago said the case can go forward, and we've been getting documents from Dominion's side as they attempt to make their case within the court and in public opinion. And to many, they've been pretty damning, because a little over a week ago, I actually wrote about some of the documents that Dominion had released on my newsletter, Zander's Weekend Facts. You should go check it out, by the way.
Shameless bug.
But something about that edition of the newsletter that I noticed, it's getting a lot of traction. There's a lot of people reading it. It's one of the most read Zander's Weekend Facts editions ever, and we've been doing it for over a year. So I was like, people must be interested in this stuff. So I thought I'd talk about it on the podcast because we've learned some more information, and you might not have read that Zander's Weekend Facts, so I wanted to get that information to you as well regarding this lawsuit from Dominion against Fox. So if you haven't read the Zander's Weekend Facts, you're in for a treat. And even if you have read the Weekend Facts and you know all this stuff, you should probably listen in, because some of that stuff is just wild, and we've got some new information just in the last few days. So I'm going to take you through all of that here on the Zander's Facts podcast. But I'm going to read off some of the messages from Fox News, on-air talent, and network executives that Dominion obtained. These are from the Zander's Facts podcast, which I also wrote on these, so you can go check them out in print form if you wanted to too. But in audio form, I'm just going to read off these. There's a couple of conversations that I wanted to highlight. The document that Dominion released was like 196 pages. These are some of the best, I guess I would say, conversations that I found in that.
Big fact incoming.
So let's start off here with an online conversation between Fox on-air talent Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham regarding Trump lawyer Sidney Powell. Carlson wrote, quote, "Sidney Powell is lying, by the way. I caught her. It's insane," unquote. Ingraham responded, quote, "Sidney is a complete nut. No one will work with her. Ditto with Rudy," unquote. They're talking about Rudy Giuliani. Carlson answered, quote, "Our viewers are good people and they believe it," unquote. On the subject of Rudy Giuliani, another lawyer of former President Donald Trump's, former mayor of New York also, if you didn't know, on-air talent Sean Hannity said of Giuliani, quote, "Rudy is acting like an insane person," unquote. Ingraham also noted, quote, "Rudy, such an idiot," unquote. And Fox Corporation Chairman Rupert Murdoch wrote, quote, "Watching Giuliani, really crazy stuff and damaging," unquote. Of course, that really crazy stuff was airing on the network that Murdoch owns. Dominion is also alleging that the network was not pleased with then White House correspondent Kristen Fisher, who's now with CNN, after Fisher fact-checked claims that Powell and Giuliani made during a press conference. Fox's Washington bureau chief Brian Boughton allegedly told Fisher to do a better job of, quote, "respecting our audience," unquote. Then, on-air talent Carlson and Hannity complaining after the network's White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich fact-checked a Trump tweet which promoted the fraud claims. Carlson wrote, quote, "Please get her fired. Seriously, what the F? Question mark. You can read the obscenity on Zander's Weekend Facts. I'm actually shocked. It needs to stop immediately, like tonight. It's measurably hurting the company. The stock price is down. Not a joke," unquote. Hannity responded, quote, "I'm 3 strikes. Wallace, S-word debate. Election night, a disaster. Now this BS? Nope, not gonna fly. Did I mention Cavuto?" Unquote. Heinrich's fact-checking tweet was deleted by the next morning. Fox News executives also had some things to say about their own talent, including Lou Dobbs, who was actually fired from the network the day after Dominion first filed their suit. Poor Lou.
The caravan of mostly Central American immigrants is now in the Mexican city of Oaxaca.
Fox News President Jay Wallace wrote of Dobbs' show, quote, "The North Koreans do a more nuanced show," unquote, which is, what a quote. According to the brief, though, Fox producer Jeff Field wrote, quote, "Dobbs turned a blind eye because he was so committed to Donald Trump," unquote. Of Jeanine Pirro, Justin Andrews, the executive producer of Justice with Judge Jeanine, wrote, quote, "Jeanine is just as nuts," unquote. The executive producer of her show, Justice.
"My resolution? Airstrikes. Bomb them. Bomb them. Keep bombing them. Bomb them again and again."
And then we've got Fox on-air talent and executives who saw right-wing network Newsmax as a threat. Newsmax, which is farther to the right than Fox. Wallace wrote, quote, "The Newsmax surge is a bit troubling. Truly is an alternative universe when you watch, but it can't be ignored," unquote. Carlson also wrote, quote, "Do the executives understand how much credibility and trust we've lost with our audience? We're playing with fire for real. An alternative like Newsmax could be devastating to us," unquote. So,
Cool facts, bro.
there's all that we learned a week or two ago and all those messages, which is just, wow. And I had my reaction on Zander's Weekend Facts, and that's all that. But we now also have some new information in this case. Perhaps even worse for Fox than all of those messages is what the chairman of the Fox Corporation, Rupert Murdoch, said in his deposition. Murdoch, if you don't know, is from Australia, and he founded Fox News and also owns Fox Corporation, News Corp, which owns the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post, book publisher HarperCollins, and a bunch of other media entities around the world, including The Sun in the UK. But this week, we learned of what Murdoch said in his remarks, and the full transcript is actually online. I saw it published at least by the New York Times, probably some other places. It's 196 pages. It's, what Murdoch said is not very many of those pages. It's a lot of stuff in there. But here's some of what Murdoch said in that deposition. When Murdoch was asked the question by Dominion, quote, "What should the consequences be when Fox News executives knowingly allow lies to be broadcast?" unquote. The answer was, quote, "They should be reprimanded. They should be reprimanded, maybe got rid of," unquote. When talking about whether some Fox News hosts actually endorsed the stolen election lies, here's that discussion. The question: you are aware now that Fox did more than simply host these guests and give them a platform, correct? The answer: I think you've shown me some material in support of that. Question: in fact, you are now aware that Fox endorsed at times this false notion of a stolen election? Answer: not Fox, no, not Fox. But maybe Lou Dobbs, maybe Maria, as commentators. Question: we went through Fox hosts, Maria Bartiromo. Yes? Answer: yes, come on. Question: Fox host Jeanine Pirro. Answer: I think so. Question: Fox business host Lou Dobbs. Answer: oh, a lot. Question: Fox host Sean Hannity. Answer: a bit. Question: all were in that document, correct? Answer: yes, they were. Question: about Fox endorsing the narrative of a stolen election, correct? Answer: no, some of our commentators were endorsing it. Question: about their endorsement of a stolen election? Answer: yes, they endorsed. Hopefully you could follow there. There were a lot of questions and answers. But Dominion then argues that Murdoch admitted under oath that the host, quote, did far more than just host these guests and give them a platform, unquote. And they say that this should be enough for Fox to be held liable. Murdoch also said, quote, I would have liked us to be stronger in denouncing it in hindsight, unquote. Dominion also says that Murdoch said it was wrong for Fox host Tucker Carlson to host Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy we had on this podcast. Technically, no.
Today, the FBI, you're going to hear this, and you're probably already hearing it in the news. The FBI came after me and took my phone. They surrounded me at a Hardee's.
On his show on January 26, 2021, quote, to repeat those allegations against Dominion if Carlson didn't contest, unquote. And Carlson, in fact, did not contest those allegations that were presented by MyPillow Guy on that program. Murdoch was also quoted as responding to why Fox continued to allow Lindell on its programs, quote, it's not red or blue, it is green, unquote, meaning he brings money, and that's all that matters.
It's a fact.
In response to all of this, Fox claimed on Monday that, quote, Dominion's lawsuit has always been more about what will generate headlines than what can withstand legal and factual scrutiny, as illustrated by them now being forced to slash their fanciful damages demand by more than $500 million after their own expert debunked its implausible claims. Their summary judgment motion took an extreme, unsupported view of defamation law that would prevent journalists from basic reporting, and their efforts to publicly smear Fox for covering and commenting on allegations by a sitting president of the United States should be recognized for what it is, a blatant violation of the First Amendment, unquote.
Huh.
So, okay, but here's a question you're probably asking yourself. Is anything actually going to happen to Fox? Well, for that to happen, and for Dominion to actually win the suit, Dominion needs to prove actual malice against Fox, because considering the 1964 Supreme Court case, New York Times v. Sullivan, probably heard of it, that set the standard for libel and defamation claims that the courts have followed now for almost 6 decades. This means that Dominion needs evidence to prove that Fox's actions were done with knowledge that it was false or with reckless disregard of whether it was false or not. Will Dominion be able to prove that?
Good question.
I mean, it's anyone's guess what the court's going to decide in the end, considering Fox still needs to release their evidence, and it's also historically been very difficult to win defamation cases by actually proving malice. But there's one thing for sure, Fox does not want to talk about the suit on air, much to the dismay of one of its anchors, actually, because Howard Kurtz hosts the Sunday morning show Media Buzz, and he said on air that the network would not allow him to talk about the suit, even though he disagreed with that decision. But even if Fox doesn't face any legal or financial damages from the suit, it could face an exodus from viewers who, don't like being lied to. I mean, you shouldn't be watching Fox News in the first place, and I don't know how you ended up on this podcast if you do, but I would doubt that the people who do would probably not even find out that Fox lied to them and that Fox knew they were lying to them, but they did it anyway. But, crazier things have happened, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what goes on with all that, but a lot of the experts are saying, yeah, this is pretty crazy stuff, but is Dominion actually going to be able to win the suit? That's going to be very difficult. We'll see what happens with Fox News and Dominion voting systems.
These are facts.
So those are all the facts that I've got for episode 96 of the Zander's Facts podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. What a podcast it was. And remember, if you liked all the facts that we had on this week's edition of the podcast, remember to follow this podcast, download this episode 96, rate and review the podcast, then go on all our socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on all those at Zander's Facts. That is Zander with a Z. And most importantly, remember to tell all your friends. Spread the facts. Zander's Facts Podcast. Tell all your friends about the podcast, about the newsletter, Zander's Weekend Facts. Check it out. It's doing pretty well. Check out Zander's Facts on YouTube. We have all of our new episodes that are going up on YouTube, including this new episode, which is going to go up on YouTube whenever I get around to it. Check that out. And also check out the Zander's Facts link tree. It's got all the Zander's Facts links that you need, including for Zander'sFacts.com, the Zander's Facts website, which includes the only place where you can get some Zander's Facts swag Zander's Facts Shop. Go check out everything Zander's Facts, all the facts that we have for you. That's it for episode 96. Episode 97 of the podcast is coming up next week, and we are getting back to sports next week because college basketball, the season is winding down. It's the final week of the regular season in men's college basketball, if you didn't know this week. So next week are the conference tournaments, and of course we got to talk about them. And also, regional sports networks. You know, like the local channel that you watch all your team's games on, like NBC Sports Washington or Bally Sports or AT&T Sports Center or whatever. Well, it's not going so well for those networks, and that could be a big thing for a bunch of these leagues in the US and these teams and how you watch them. So I'm going to talk about all of that. That's coming up next week on episode 97 of the Zander's Facts podcast. But that is it. That is a wrap on episode 96 of the Zander's Facts podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. And the Zander's Facts podcast rolls on with episode 97 next week.
Washington.